One thing I've been thinking about, what makes for a good YouTube video, or what makes a good blog post? Like, what makes something in this sort of creative realm feel good? And I think I've landed on an interesting mental model for this. And that's the concept of proof of work. Now, in the field of cryptography, proof of work is what secures like the blockchain in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, for example. Proof of work is where something is very, very, very difficult to do, and everyone knows that it's difficult to do, but it's very easy to verify. Like, for example, if you're solving a hash puzzle to mine a new block on the chain for Bitcoin, it takes large amounts of effort, like large amounts of work, large amounts of computing power to mine the block. But it's very easy for someone to verify that that thing has been mined. So the proof of work is very asymmetrical in that it's very hard to do, very easy to verify. And I think proof of work is what makes a good YouTube video or a good blog post. In that we all have this, I think increasingly now we have this internal barometer for what makes, like, what sort of content looks like a lot of effort has been put into it, a lot of work has been put into it. And I think this effort can take different forms. This effort could be just like ridiculously good editing, which is some YouTubers that I know where you just, everyone, all the comments appreciate, oh my God, this must have taken you hundreds of hours. And it's like, yeah, it did. It could be like really good storytelling. When someone tells a good story, that that's another, ticks the box of proof of work in our minds. I think another one is large amounts of personal experience compressed into a small thing. And so if it's like a blog post called, my internet friend Nat Elyson has a blog post called How to Start a Blog That Changes Your Life, where he condenses 8 years of blogging experience into this post, which is 3,000 words and has graphs and revenue numbers and all this kind of stuff. It's such a large amount of personal experience and hard-won experience condensed into something that makes everyone feel, oh shit, this is really, really good. Equally, if I look at a lot of the videos that I've done that have done the best, they've been where I've condensed large amounts of my own personal experience into a video. I've been thinking about this because of this blog post that I came across a few weeks ago that I shared on our Not Overthinking's Slack members group thing about the difference between doing something and then talking about it versus reading something and then talking about it. And I think the doing stuff and actually having your own personal experience and then talking about it is, well, it's a lot more interesting, a lot more unique, a lot more original than reading something and then subsequently talking about it. And this has been relevant for me because of the book. And in writing, in the writing of the book, everyone just keeps telling me, look, you need to add more personal experience to it. And I need to keep reminding myself that. In fact, one of my affirmations that I write on Rome each morning is something along the lines of, my personal experience is valuable and I should feel okay to write about it, or something like that, to just remind myself that it's okay to write from personal experience, because that's the thing that people actually care about. So I proffered this idea of proof of work on my YouTuber Academy executive members call earlier today, and they were all like, oh yeah, this is pretty legit stuff.
Yes, I totally agree. There was a good quote I heard recently about, it was something like, beware of unearned wisdom. And I think there's a lot of unearned wisdom going around on the internet. People like summarizing other people's books and things like that, and all of this kind of thing. I think what you're sort of getting at is sort of the idea of earned wisdom, where someone has actually, done made the effort, done the work. And I think when you come across, a YouTube video or some piece of content, when you're consuming any kind of information, like whether that's sort of in a conversation or something, or in a blog post or YouTube video, there's like the the sort of explicit sort of content that you're sort of reading or hearing or whatever, and then there's the sort of general vibe that you're getting. And I think we very quickly make general vibe judgments, and if for example, back when I used to sort of write blog posts more regularly, one thing that I used to do just to like set the general vibe well from the start is to have like little hand-drawn illustrations, and always have like at least part of one of these illustrations above the fold, so you don't have to scroll before reading it. And so then when you land on this page, it's like, okay, you'll see like an intro paragraph or two, then you'll see like half of a hand-drawn illustration, and immediately it's like, okay, this person has gone through some effort here. I'm going to grant him an extra 20 seconds of attention. Whereas if it's a wall of text, then it's like, okay, I have to read this wall of text to get an idea of the vibe. Or if it's like a couple of paragraphs plus a stock photo, then it's like, oh shit, I'm probably not going to carry on because this person has not even gone through the effort of not like doing something other than a stock photo.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that, yeah, these like indicators of that let you make these judgments are really helpful there.
I think Wait But Wide does a fantastic job of that. Blog post, how to figure out what to do with your life. This is John. Hand-drawn illustration.
Yeah.
John is unhappy. Hand-drawn illustration. Like, oh, okay, this is intriguing.
I can't just leave John at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is he unhappy?
So, yeah, the reason this is interesting and tricky at the same time, because I think when you're a beginner on something, it's a very high barrier to entry to require that your thing have effort put into it, or your thing have originality or whatever. These are all things that stop people from creating because they feel, oh, well, my ideas aren't original. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, why would anyone listen to me? And so when you're starting off, it's very easy to be a curator or a repackager of stuff, which is fine. Like, you know, it's curation is useful, repackaging is useful to an extent. And those are lower barrier to entry things than actually creating quote original stuff. One thing that I've been thinking recently, like as I kind of teach YouTubers to be better YouTubers, is like, even if you are a curator or a repackager, the thing that makes your thing original is the personal experience that you apply to it.
Yeah.
And the best curated newsletters are not the ones where it's just a list of links, even though if the links are really good. It's
I don't
list of
understand the
links.
point of those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's list of links plus someone's perspective on those links, that, hey, this is a must read if you're interested in A, B, and C. I read this and it changed the way my business operates. Oh, great. I'm going to read that thing because I trust you and I trust your personal experience. Equally, when it comes to repackaging, like when I do a summary of a book as a video format, in video format, the ones that do the best are the ones where I actually have lived experience based on the teachings of the book. Like, I can talk ad nauseum about how the 4-hour work week has actually affected my life and changed the way that I do things, and talk about the personal experience side of things. Whereas if it's another book that I've maybe only read once and I'm doing a video about because I know it's probably reasonable to do a video about this book, it just sort of, it feels like an uphill battle to make that video, and those videos almost invariably perform a lot worse than the ones where I'm speaking from personal experience.
What do you think? I mean, I don't want to like be cynical here, so correct me if this is actually wrong, but it feels to me like most people who are in the game of becoming creators and so on, they gravitate towards much more impersonal stuff, much more like pure curation kind of stuff, more like sort of role-playing as a creator kind of thing. And yeah, I've mentioned this on previous episodes. Is it just like the difficulty to be vulnerable that stops people from just, having much more personal content from the start? At the start, was your content personal? I guess you were vlogging, so maybe that is...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a part of it, the difficulty in being vulnerable. I think a big part of it is, why would anyone care? Like, when you have 0 subscribers and 0 followers and no one knows who you are, like, it's very true to think, like, why would anyone care about, like, my experience about doing X?
Yeah, that's true.
Unless people, like for example, if Elon Musk were to start a YouTube channel about his experience of running Tesla, people would care.
Right.
But if if you're an unknown person doing a relatively unknown thing, talking about your experiences of that is not that interesting, or at least not. It's hard to signal the interest level of that to other people. You were talking, I think at one point you mentioned, so there was some guy on Twitter who had built like a 7-figure business off the back of selling storage units or something.
Yeah.
Something like that, and how when he was tweeting about his experience of doing the thing, that was resonating because it was earned wisdom.
Yeah, I think earned wisdom was part of why that was good.
So I think that the difficulty is that invariably the younger you are, the less earned wisdom you have. And invariably the younger you are, the more you need to lean on unearned wisdom.
Yeah, I guess so.
To an extent, yeah. I guess the sort of young creators I know who have been doing the best, like by the numbers, are the people who are targeting students as their audience, like where Ruby Granger, for example, makes videos for herself, but 4 years younger.
Yeah.
And that's a domain in which like there's no one more qualified to talk about the woes of a 16-year-old than an 18-year-old, for example.
Yeah.
So targeting that audience makes perfect sense. But
Yeah.
if you're, let's say, an 18-year-old medical student and you're attempting to summarize Atomic Habits for other 18 to 25-year-olds, there is an extent to which that is probably not the best way of going about it.
Yeah, yeah.